What is going on, everybody? This is a day 5 recap of scaling my AI agency to 6 figures. Just a recap of where we're at. If you guys haven't seen the last series, it's a series of me literally documenting my day, kind of just doing recaps on my day, what I've learned, deep action and insight that I'm learning and getting from the trenches. So hopefully you can learn from it, take my advice, and just kind of see what the journey looks like from my perspective. So you know you're on the right track if you're in this industry, if you're trying to start something and scale yourself. Just to recap, total revenue right now, we're at $4,000. We closed the first client on Monday of this week. So that was 3 days ago now, because it's Thursday. So what we did today, we got the onboarding call officially booked with our client, which is awesome. It's going to be tomorrow. So I did a little bit of prep for that today, making sure we're in the right position to be able to get all the information we need from him on that call so we can go forward and actually get things built out for him on the back end. Front end's pretty easy. I mean, we have the ad creation frameworks. We already did all the market research and all that. So really what we need to do now is just kind of dive into the back end, getting the ads into Meta, and then getting the Go High level systems built out for the funnels and everything we're doing. And then we also built out our Claude Agent. In the last video, we're building a Claude Agent to help us optimize scripting. So we're feeding it in market research, brand business data, and it's trained on literally the framework that we're running the ads and that we're seeing great results with for ads. So we built that out to make our scripting time literally go from like 6 hours plus, depending on how many videos we needed to do, to literally about an hour with revisions. And at scale, I want to make it so good where we can just like throw it out there, right? But obviously, it's just really there to generate the idea behind it and like the ad concept, the script as well. And we'll see how good it really is. I ran out of credits, so we never got into like actually the credit side of things with Claude. So it actually comes back up here at 9 p.m. I think it's around it's 8:12 right now, so we might jump into that tonight and actually generate some scripts. We also did some bookkeeping and we got ready for taxes. Obviously, as a new business owner, this is something you got to worry about, and kind of went into that. And then also front end optimizations. So we dove into kind of realizing like, hey, we should probably be niching down a little bit more here. We were kind of going broad market, blue collar, home service business owners, kind of saying, hey, we can help anybody. And then what we quickly realized is, hey, cool, it was great to get our first client in the door. And the fact that we even got a client in the door is just kind of miraculous in my eyes. Obviously, we did a lot of work to do that, but we went through that process and we were kind of like, well, if we were getting a landscaper or a roofer to come into our funnel or a home remodeler, it's like the process is different for every niche, whether you like it or not. Like, sure, you're still providing the same offer, but the fulfillment process is different. So we realized like, hey, we need to actually like niche down here, focus on one market that has the money to invest into this. That's essentially kind of blue ocean. I won't really share too much about the market, but it's essentially a kind of a home remodel sub market. There's really no companies that are competing, probably like less than a dozen. I know with roofers and all these other mainstream niches, dude, there's thousands of people that you're competing with on the agency side of things, and your cost to acquire customers can be a lot higher. So we're going to end up optimizing our entire front end for this. I didn't get super deep into the process, but we're kind of starting to plan to get that put together. And then obviously recording and posting day 5, which is what I'm doing right now. So it was an overall pretty productive day. Went really well in my eyes. On the development side, just to give you guys a little background of what's going on. So I've been using GitHub and Claude kind of natively for running agents. And I've kind of recently been tapping into Google Anti-Gravity a little bit as like, it's kind of just like a cursor in a sense, but it's more of a free tool. I like the interface a lot better than Cursor. It's a little more less complex, if that makes sense. So getting into how we can build an environment within there to help us with fulfillment, help us with like daily projects we're working on with our marketing, our front end, pretty much just a full scale agent that's going to basically be able to execute tasks for us with MCPs. I'm just starting to scratch the surface with that, but that is the goal here at scale, is to get anti-gravity dialed in so it can help us with pretty much everything that's related to the business and stay up to date with what we're currently doing and what we're currently optimizing. Some key takeaways from today: do not sacrifice your sleep. I learned that last night. I was like, I want to do a little experiment and see if I can actually stay up, till 1 a.m. I like working at night because there's not a lot of distractions. There's not a lot of things racing through your mind. It's just kind of like you can just do. And I did that, and I went through the process of actually doing some stuff, but I didn't have a clear deep work foundation. Started to get pretty tired around like 11 p.m. I'm in Central Time, and went up till like 1 a.m. Ended up staying up really late, and I kind of just felt like my brain was just fried, bro. And the next day, I just pretty much completely ruined my day today. I woke up at like 9 a.m. and got a coffee. Started deep work at 10, but I could just tell I was way more foggy, a lot more distracted. And what I'm basically learning is like a good night's sleep is more important than, a long night of work, just because when you get a good night's sleep, when you wake up that next morning, you are locked in. You are doing way more production than you normally would be if you were working at night, just because your brain is fresh and your brain hasn't been running for 16 hours, right? If you're working at 1 a.m. So that's something I'm really learning. I kind of just did a split test for myself to just see how I actually felt about it. And then another thing is focus on 3 big priorities per day maximum. This is something I've been starting to implement into my workflow. One thing I used to do, which I really screwed up on, is I would actually go through the process of writing literally everything down for my day. And then I would come to the next morning and I'd be like, okay, like what do I need to prioritize? And it was almost like I'm overwhelming myself before I even got to execute anything. So what I'm starting to do now with a practice is, what are the 3 things that must get done today that move the needle forward, right? If I got these 3 things done, which I need to get done, I would say it's a successful day. So I write that down. I write the top 3 things that are top of mind that are super important for moving the needle forward. And then I just write down a bunch of extras underneath it. Like, hey, if I have time to get to some of these extras today was a really, really good day, right? So this is just a really good practice for me as a founder. When you're somebody that has so many different things you can be focusing on, it's really hard to actually stay focused and do really good deep work. And that's what I started to realize as I, kind of been in business for now a couple of years, is I used to just write everything down I need to get done, and I would end up getting like, 3 things, 4 things off the list, and it wouldn't even be the things that moved the needle. I would try to go for the easy tasks that just I could get done quick and get a quick dopamine hit. And now that I've kind of, moved past the kind of moved into this new sequence and this new workflow process, it's been a lot easier for me to do this. Then another thing I'm discovering as well is using AI for self-reflection. It's very important. I think it's something that I've been doing for a while, but I just started to use kind of a Claude agent and a system to make it easy for me to actually like do self-reflection, because then the AI can pick up on patterns. I can always go back and backtrack what I'm thinking about and like what my days look like. It can kind of keep me on track to like how I'm feeling and how I want to be an optimal version of myself. So using AI for self-reflection has been a really good process for me. It's something that I've been doing pretty consistently for a while now, but I believe anybody watching this video, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're trying to be an entrepreneur, whether you're just a normal person living a normal life, this is going to really help for mental health and just knowing you're on the right track every single day. Do one in the morning and do one at night. It kind of keeps you on track and gets you into the right headspace for the day. So that's something that I've been practicing, and I think a lot of people should be doing the same, because AI is a really powerful, data analysis tool, and it's really helpful for kind of keeping you on track if you structure it the right way. So let me know if you want to see a video on how to do that. I can make one. And then using Opal, a phone blocker. Now, this is what I've been using for a long time. You've probably heard of Opal, but you got to use this for deep work. One thing that I see online that I'm guilty of myself is I'll say, hey, I'm doing deep work. And then you got your phone next to you and, you pull up your phone and all of a sudden it's 30 minutes gone by your deep work block. You look at your timer and it's like, holy crap, it's been, I started this at 4, I picked up my phone and now it's 3 hours into deep work. It's an hour into deep work, there's 3 hours left. So using Opal for those sessions, I'm not saying completely get rid of your phone, but like block things out like social media, Instagram, Tinder, Snapchat, like anything that's a distraction to your phone. So that way you're not finding yourself coming back into these apps because you're bored or because like you feel like it's too hard to do. So you want to just go in and cope. So using Opal, blocking that shit out, especially for deep work, if you can do it all day, that's awesome. And only allow yourself to look into that stuff at night or for a specific time window within the day. So making sure you do that is super important to keep you focused on a consistent basis. Something I kind of struggled with today, and I implemented it back into my workflow. It's been very helpful for staying on track. And then find your lane and niche down, bro. Find your lane. However you find your lane, whatever that looks like for you, find it and niche down. That's something that I've kind of learned and discovered is most of my businesses that I was running, the ones that I actually saw success in were ones where I niched down. The farther you niche down, the higher success rate you're going to have in your business, period. Whatever business you run. Because the more you can speak in a personalized way to somebody specifically, the more you know your avatar, the more you're going to sell, the more you're going to have an impact, the more they're going to trust you, that you know what the fuck you're doing. So niching the fuck down, dude. Find your lane. If that means, hey, starting broad first, trying to figure out who you want to work with, cool, totally do that. Whoever comes into your funnel is the type of person you should probably be working with. That's exactly what we did. We were targeting blue collar business owners, very broad targeting, helping them get more business with their ads. And we just happen to have, a $2 million a year business owner come into our funnel, book a call, and close, right? And now we have really clear insight into, okay, this is the niche, this is the market we want to go for because it's blue ocean. There's not a lot of competitors. It's probably going to be a lot cheaper to get calls booked so we can actually start scaling and actually just scale into a niche. That way we're experts in this field. We know exactly what works, exactly what doesn't, and we don't have to reiterate and redefine the fulfillment process for every person we're working with so it's actually scalable. Because if you don't niche down, it's never going to be scalable. It's never going to be scalable, bro. Because then you're always trying to tap into different fulfillment things and you're messing around with different clients that have different needs. But if you're working with the one specific type of person and only that type of person, you're going to have a way better time with fulfillment. You're going to enjoy your life a lot more. And it's going to be a lot easier to take on more clients at scale, especially if you find a good niche. A good niche would be someone that has a good amount of money. They can afford your service and they have more problems that you can sell them on, which damn near every niche has, and that they are technically a blue ocean niche. They're not insanely bombarded with ads right now, right? Ads are kind of new to their niche, which is hard. You'll find barely any niches like this, especially in the B2B realm. But if you can find that niche, it's a gold mine. And you can't really sit around and just pick and wait for the perfect niche. You kind of just have to go in. And as you go in and get reps, you're going to find what niche is perfect for you and that you can actually deliver for, and then just double down on that niche and just primarily focus on that. And then another one here, which I think is it's something I didn't necessarily believe at first, but you do not need to spend a single dollar to get your first client. You do not need to spend a single dollar to get your first client, especially if you don't have money. Spending money to get a client is a lot more time effective, right? Like you're just trading time for money. You make some ads once, put a VSL together, and then you just have continuous traffic coming to you on autopilot, right? It's a great way to get a client if you want to focus your time somewhere else. But if you're somebody that doesn't have a lot of money and you have time, right, you got to trade that time. So start doing outreach. Cold calling is a great way. I'm not a big fan of it. If you can find a more personalized, productive way to do outreach, because a lot of people say sales is a numbers game. I truly believe that. But if you are doing outreach to somebody that's hyper personalized, that you know has a problem and that you have results in that niche, there's no reason why they shouldn't consider at least hearing you out. Okay, so this is very important. You don't need to spend a fuck ton of money to get a client. I don't think it's really necessary when you're first starting out, because you could set up a whole funnel, build it out, and not know what the fuck. Like you could get no results from ads. You could spend $1,000 and get no results from ads. So find what works first. Find the niche that actually has a problem. Doing outreach. You can be broad in your outreach. You can go for multiple different markets. Just tweak your messaging to say you specialize in that specific type of niche and see who responds. Whoever responds is the niche that you should start catering your messaging to and that you can build a funnel off of. We did this. I don't know how. I mean, we redid our VSL probably like 3 or 4 times. Always critiquing the landing page copy, like really like a lot of iterating, right? We were doing a lot of iterating in our process, and it was difficult, right? Because it was like, holy fuck, I don't know if the VSL is working. I don't know if the funnel's working. I don't know if the ads are working, right? And then we just kind of iterated enough times to where we turned it into a free training kind of framework. And then eventually, like, we just had leads start coming in. Like, we got the call booked. And that might have been lucky, but at the same time, that can't really happen for everybody. So I would say we're probably lucky from that regard. But if I had to go back and do it again, I would just primarily focus on cold outreach, add that into your resume, and use AI to make it more effective. There's a lot of ways to use AI to make it more effective. You can have it literally scrape data from Google Maps with an MCP, find their phone numbers, find their emails, literally go through their website, figure out about the company, if they're running ads, if they have a metapixel, right? And you can do that all for you and find the leads really effectively. And as long as it's hyper personalized, you can align their problem that they probably have with your offer. Outreach is going to be really easy and they're more likely to respond to you. Emails, a lot of guys check their emails, man. If you have a good email system that actually sends and doesn't end up in spam, email is a great way to do outreach, especially kind of positioning with value up front instead of pitching up front. Give them value into what you can actually help them with a loom. We added $100,000 in pipeline for X contractor in your niche. Let me know if you want to see a video breaking it down. And if they reply yes, boom, you send a video, personalized, right? It's a really great way to kind of not seem like you're selling, more so like, hey, I want to provide value to you because I was able to do this for somebody else. And you should probably watch this too if you want to scale. So that's an advice for outreach. Don't try to run ads right away. We did it. We're still going to keep doing it because now we kind of found our niche. But if you're just starting out, you don't have the money to do it. And even if you have the money, you should still probably just focus on cold outreach. If anything, maybe, spend some money to make cold outreach easier, but you're going to have to do cold outreach. There's really no way around it unless you can run ads and you understand funnels and you understand structures behind systems like that to actually be able to see results. And then the big three for tomorrow, we're going to be onboarding our clients. So we have the onboarding call at 10 a.m. Central. We're going to be taking care of that. That's a big step in the process tomorrow. And then we're going to move the fulfillment needle forward right after that call, right? So he's going to be giving us access to his Facebook, his GHL, and we're going to be able to start getting into the back-end fulfillment a little bit. So I'm going to be getting into scripting, obviously getting into the production of these ads. And then we're going to get into the back-end layout. That might be pretty extensive, but I'm going to try to get through the whole process tomorrow, at least have a good outline of what we're actually going to be doing. And we're going to learn a lot more from that onboarding call. We're going to move the fulfillment needle forward because why not? We need to do it. And then we're going to record the day 6 video. So we're going to obviously do what we did tonight, tomorrow. So those are my top 3. Those are my big 3. If I can do those 3 things, tomorrow is a successful day. And that's what I need to focus on. Okay. And then we have our extras, right? Now, this is exactly the practice I was talking about. So we're going to get into niching down. This is a lot of front end extras. So niching down, building complete anti-gravity environment. So this is going to be a pretty extensive process, but we can go into kind of like our marketing playbook, offer optimization, how we're acquiring clients and what our methods look like. And then go high level backend fulfillment. We're pretty much already going to be getting into that tomorrow with like a backend layout, but it's going to be pretty much all backend stuff tomorrow. And then obviously I love the front end more. I'm not going to lie to you, but we need to get into the back end and we need to actually understand this industry a lot more in this niche to be able to help more people like this guy we're already working with. So it's very important to actually understand this industry, learn this niche. Onboarding call should be around 30 minutes, nothing too crazy. We already know a lot. We already have a lot of insight into what we're doing. We just got to get his information and get some clarity from him on that side of the boat. So yeah, that is everything for tomorrow. And then I just got some closing thoughts for you guys. Thought I'd write some questions down because these are some things I was thinking about today. And I was like, this is very interesting. I don't know what I would say to this. So the first question was, I was talking to this girl, she's in college and stuff. And I was like, do you use AI like at all? Right? Like, do you use AI? And she was like, well, I use it to help me study. I don't use it to actually cheat on anything. Because she was like, her premise was kind of like, well, I think AI is making us dumber. It's making everybody dumber. And I was like, thinking about it, I was like, like an over reliance on AI, is that making you dumber? And I think for lazy people, it is, right? Because if you're lazy, you're just going to have it give you something generically, one prompt and get the output. But if you're somebody that is actually motivated and you're consistent and you are kind of like on that CEO founder level mindset, I think AI is making you more effective than you've ever been able to be. Like if you think about it from a high level, like we are literally able to execute so much faster and so much more efficiently with these AI systems that we're utilizing on a daily basis. It's insane. Like the human output that one person can do nowadays is 10x what it was even 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So I thought about it a while and I was like, well, I think it just depends on the person. If you understand things and you're actually like facilitating what it's doing for you, like for example, when I built out the fulfillment SOP, I literally went through the entire process of how I would see fulfillment being, wrote it down, prompted it, talked through the entire process because I'm a big kind of talker guy. I don't really like typing or writing things, and it's not efficient in my eyes. And I went through the whole process and I had AI turn it into an SOP, right? And that is efficient. It's not like I'm having it make me an SOP without me knowing what I want it to make me. I understand the process of what fulfillment looks like, and I structured it, and it kind of helped me walk through that process, and it actually built out the SOP based on my natural language and formatted it for me exactly how I wanted it to. So that's just one example. That would have taken me, a whole day, days even, to try to type out myself, go through the entire process, type it out. But it took me, one deep work session of like 4 or 5 hours and I was able to build it out. Still took a lot of time, but it didn't take nearly as much time as it would have if I tried to do that manually without any assistance from, an AI. That would be my answer to that question. I just thought it was really interesting because is AI really making us dumber? I don't think so. Is it really the right way, the way everybody else is doing things? Now, I thought about this. I've kind of been doing the unconventional things for a while. I've never bought a mentorship in my life. I've never bought any mentorship that's been over like $500. And I've kind of always been just like the do-it-yourself, figure-it-out guy. And like, obviously I consume YouTube and I kind of go through processes and obviously like self-educate. But I just kind of thought about it, like, is the way everybody else is doing it the right way? And I thought, and I'm like, no, the way everybody else is doing it is their way, right? Someone else just saw this guy's way of doing it and they're like, hey, I'm going to copy this guy word for word and boom, I'm going to do it too. And then all of a sudden you have the market, the mass market following one way of doing things. But the real way to differentiate yourself and stand out in the market is to do things differently. You got to be different, bro. And for our first business that actually saw success, which was a landscaping business, we were different. We weren't offering grass cutting services. We started offering a service that no one in our area was even offering: mulching, like literally putting your mulching together. And we made it super simple. We did it all with Facebook ads. We made the whole process really easy. All you got to do is send us pictures. We didn't even require deposits, which was kind of dumb now that I think back on it, which we would do if we were to run it again in the summer. But we basically differentiated everything about our process. We were still running a business, we were still offering a service, but we differentiated what the customer journey looked like. We also differentiated how we were getting customers compared to everybody else in our area. And also our brand was different. We were just two brothers. We kind of followed like the bros kind of signal, and it really worked and the market resonated. It's kind of like you just kind of throw spaghetti at the wall, and whatever sticks, you just go with. So not saying you shouldn't model off what other people are doing, but you shouldn't copy them word for word. And that's kind of how I see it. There's really no right way of doing things. There really isn't. It's just people figure out the way that they did it and got success from it, and then they try to teach other people that same way. And that's what you see with all this info product stuff. It's like, hey, I got success doing this. I've already helped a lot of other people be successful doing this, and this is the way to do it. And that's a good way to do it. That's a right way. But there really is no one tried true right way to do something. Anything can be done in any way, as long as it works. And then where do I see this business going? Where I see this going is I see this becoming a six-figure agency for sure. And that was one of my goals before the end of 2026. I wanted to be at a six-figure agency level. And that's ideally not annual revenue. I would like to be at I know 6 figures a month just sounds so big to me right now. Like, okay, we'd have to sign like 10 clients a month to be able to maintain that, which, it's crazy to think about that level of scale. But I think scaling this business to multi 5 figures a month would be really ideal, man. It's life-changing money for somebody. And, if it can go to 6 figures a month, that'd be amazing. Like, that is a huge goal, and I would love to see that happen. And that's where I see this going. I mean, now that we've kind of got a great avenue, a good lane, and we see like what the niche looks like, we know, hey, we got a niche down. We're niching down. We're starting to kind of fulfill and get into our core service offering. And then it's just really, okay, get a back-end team to start with client success management, help with automations and help fulfillment. And then we just have to delegate the sales side. I think the last step of the process is delegating the sales side, right? Like the first thing you need to be doing is delegating the back end so you can actually take on more work. And then once your sales flow is consistent, like you're taking multiple calls a day, that's when you can actually bring in at least 1, maybe 2 sales guys until you're doing an operation where you're running like 20, like a fuck ton of calls a day, bro. Like double-digit calls a day, multiple double-digit calls a day. That's when you bring in a whole team, sales manager, that whole fun deal. But I don't know if it'll get to that point. We'll have to see how this agency ends up going. Like I said, I really want to do organic content, start putting dialed in organic content out there to kind of dial into this niche and see if we can bring in organic reach. Obviously, this would be really niched content, right? If we're going specifically for smart home AV, that's very niche. So that could see a really good results too. I know small niche YouTube channels, you get 1,000 subs that are directly correlated to what you're offering. That's huge. Right? That's huge. You have so many potential clients right there. And I think YouTube is a core answer to actually being able to get to that 6-figure mark along with paid ads. I think YouTube and paid ads, if we build out like a cold outreach, cold acquisition team, that could be potential as well. So those are kind of where I see this going. That's kind of where I see the scale of this agency going. I think at scale too, I want to help other people scale their agency at the same time. That's why I'm documenting this. So that is the day. That is everything on my side of the boat today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was fun. I enjoy making these. And we'll be seeing you guys in the next one. It's all about onboarding tomorrow. I'm going to prep diligently in the morning and kind of get into a newer routine. I'm going to get to bed early tonight. But yeah, leave a comment, drop a like, let me know what you think, and subscribe for the journey. You guys are going to see a really cool transformation here, and you're going to see this agency scale. And I'm going to be able to break down other processes as well. And I'm inviting you guys to let me know what you want to see next on this channel. So drop a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys for day 6.